Recording in progress. What's going on, White Line agents? Thanks for taking your lunchtime. Hopefully, y'all are sitting in a drive-through. Vanessa, hopefully you're sitting in a drive-through. You're about to get something to eat, having some fun, but I'm proud of you for making it work in the car. Please be careful. I have with us today Cameron Whitehead. Cameron Whitehead was our #1 agent last year. He is on track to be #1 agent again this year. I'm doing my best to keep up with him, trying to take him out because I want the belt buckle this year. I don't know if we're doing belt buckles, so it's going to be pretty awesome. But I wanted to bring him on and get to talking to him because he's doing a lot of amazing things. And I wanted to share with you kind of how he got started, what he did, what his secrets to the world are. So, ladies and gentlemen, Cameron Whitehead out of San Marcos.
Yep.
This is where you live proper? Yeah.
That's where I live.
Out in San Marcos. And he's covering basically Seguin, Upton to Austin, all that kind of stuff. And tell us how you got started. What was your introduction into real estate?
Well, I got started probably about 5 years ago. I wanted to become an investor, and for some reason, I thought that getting a license was the way to go. Little did I know that's not the case, but I'm glad that I did. I had a property, a house that I owned, and then I purchased another house, so I had a rental property. So I just dove into it, studied as much as possible. Got my real estate license, really was just trying to focus on being an investor. And from there, I was like, hey, this agent thing, this is pretty cool. I can help other investors, find properties. And I was listening to Bigger Pockets, and I just fully immersed myself into it. I read over 20 books in 1 year. I mean, I was podcast, shut the radio out, got my mindset right. Before real estate, I still do auctions from time to time. But I would finish these auctions at noon and I'd go home and sit on my couch and watch TV all day. And I was like, well, I just made a check. I'm good. And I was like, man, I don't want to do this. I'm looking for a hobby. So I found real estate and I really haven't looked back since.
Yeah. So, and I love that too, because I started the same way, right? I wanted to be an investor. I went and got my license kind of the same thing, almost by accident. Mm-hmm. And it's worked out really well. So I don't know about you, but I try now to live off my realtor income, and anything I make investing, I just keep putting it back in the pot.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. So you said you started with the rental. Tell us about when you got started as an agent. How did you, I mean, I know you said you're studying Bigger Pockets and all that stuff, which I'm a big fan of Bigger Pockets too, by the way. Actually, this Saturday I'm going to the Bigger Pockets convention out in New Orleans. Nice. Yeah, I'm kind of pumped about it. It's the first convention I've been to that I either wasn't employed and kind of required to go, or I wasn't speaking at. So this is the first one I think I've ever paid for. And
that'll be fun.
And so I'm really,
it's a big deal.
It's a big deal. And plus it's in New Orleans, so I'm pretty sure I can figure something out.
Absolutely.
But so when you got your first clients, what was your strategy? What were you thinking?
So, I mean, it was a struggle. As you guys know, when you first break off as an agent, it definitely is not easy. And that's what I preach to newer agents. It takes time, and you have to really treat it like a job and not necessarily a hobby. I started off I treated it like a job. I signed up with Century 21 there in San Marcos. I expected to get some good training. I didn't get good training. But I had this agent put me under her wing and pretty much teach me the process of writing contracts and giving me templates and I had a sales background since I worked auctions. So I understood negotiations and sales and things like that, but it was a struggle. I mean, I think I did one deal my first year. I was also working about 5 auctions a week at that time. So it was part-time, but I was really trying to make this thing work full time. And it probably took every bit of 2.5 years before my phone actually started ringing consistently, before I started getting deals and contracts consistently.
So what were the actions that you implemented to get your phone to start ringing?
A lot of it had to do with just letting people know what I do. I think over time, you see a lot of agents come in, you see a lot of agents go out. And I think this is just my personal opinion. 99% of agents are not that great at what they do. And it's really easy to stand out if you're good at what you do. So I think being really good at what you do, keeping your word, and just pretty much answering your phone and responding to emails and showing people what you do consistently on Facebook and social media. And every time you get a contract, making that post, and it just lets everybody know, hey, when they think real estate, they think of me.
Yeah. And I got to echo that so much more because that's what I found too. Like I just started posting everything I go to. Hey, I'm showing this house. Isn't this a cool bathroom? Hey, I'm doing this. I've done a lot of public speaking in my life, and I remember feeling very awkward in front of the camera when I'm talking about something, especially at the beginning.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I just, I was like, whatever, I know what I'm doing. So I just kind of kept doing it. And I'm really sad that Deborah Pickett's not on today, because Deborah and I, we were up here, we're at the Rise right now in Seguin. And Deborah, we were up here for some networking event, and she asked me, and I told her the exact same thing. And I kid you not, that woman has got to be putting 15 posts a day.
Oh yeah, she's killing it.
She's and then I can almost guarantee that she's not on the Zoom because she's out doing something right now. So kudos to her. So guys, if you're really looking to get that phone ringing, you've got to start with what I call your warm base. And your warm base is the people that you know. Everybody thinks that, your mom's not going to go buy a house tomorrow, right? She's been living in the same house for 43 years. So that's probably not going to happen. But there's all those secondary friends that need to know what you do. And I cannot tell you how many people I had recently this year. I had a girl that I went to high school with that I had not seen since the 1900s, literally seen or talked to, call me out of the blue and say, hey, can you sell my mom's house for me? Yep. And I know 100% it just came from social media. So that's a great way on that one.
Yep.
So you also talked about building trust, gaining trust. What do you think are the important steps when it comes to that?
Like I stated, pretty much responding to those emails in a timely manner. Like if I get an email and I have something else going on, the first thing I think about is responding to that email. And so I think if you're extremely quick at responding to text and responding to email, I take pride in that. So it stresses me out if I cannot, like if I'm auctioneering, like this morning I had an auction. So I can't really be on my phone, but I will literally continue to auctioneer and text my client back at the same time, because I can't wait 45 minutes to text them back. So I try my best to really show that I might have 50 clients, but they're number one. And so I think that is an important point, to always make them feel like they're super important and that you're just working with them.
Yeah. And I say this a lot, and I'm just going to rephrase what he said, is I honestly believe that communication is 100% of problems. 100%. Every time there's a problem anywhere, something was miscommunicated. Either expectations were miscommunicated, whatever it might be. And I'm also very big on that. Like my client asks me a question, I want to know. And I think you would agree with me on this one. If they do ask me a question, I don't know the answer, I just tell them I don't know the answer.
Right.
I don't know the answer. I'll be right back.
Find out.
Give me 15 minutes. I need to make a phone call. Pick up the phone, call me, call somebody, get the answer that you need, and then respond back in a timely manner.
Absolutely.
And then he also mentioned trustworthiness, right? Just going out there and doing what you say you're going to do when you're going to say you're going to do it. It's hard, especially the busier you get.
Oh yeah.
To keep those systems in place. Yeah. And so when it comes to like keeping the systems in place and all that stuff, what do you use to make sure that you don't drop any of these balls as you're closing all these deals?
The reminder app on my phone is just loaded with stuff, and it's awesome. I also have a big thing that I did recently was I got an office there in San Marcos. I've had it for almost 2 years, and that's been kind of a game changer for me. I really go in and I'm consistent about it. I have a big whiteboard. I don't have like a regular CRM. I don't have Chime and the CRM stuff. I literally just have a whiteboard, and all my deals go on a whiteboard. And if I'm going to leave town, for the weekend, I take a picture of that whiteboard. Let me know, what deals are closing and those types of things. But staying on top of all the deals that, that come along can be challenging, but I have a planner that I carry around with me. I also have my reminders, and I have my whiteboard. That's pretty much it. I'm pretty old school.
Yeah. So old school, new school, Chime, CRM, whatever it is, I kind of bounce between the both. I know that's probably not really a great organizational task, but sometimes when you're on the fly and I've got a stack of sticky notes in my truck and I'm jotting something down while somebody's talking to me. Mm-hmm. So I kind of end up with a little bit of both. And did you know, maybe you do, but the reminder app on your phone, did you know there's a proximity thing too? That is a fantastic.
Oh, when you're this close to someone.
When I'm close to this address.
Yeah, it'll say, "Hey, go get paper.
Or go pick this up, or don't forget you said you're going to go check on whatever."
Yeah.
And I use that a lot with my new build. So if I'm helping somebody with a new build, I put a reminder app as like, if I'm within 5 miles of this, you need to hit me, and my phone will go off.
Right.
And instead of, I'll go drive through or something easy for lunch, and I'll run over there and take a picture just so they know I'm thinking about them, because new builds are 9 months, 12 months out.
Absolutely.
And just showing that you're over there, that makes them feel really, really cared for.
Go over there and send them some pictures and show them the progress.
Exactly.
That's what we were talking about communication wise. Just because it's a new build, maybe you didn't write the contract or whatever, you always want to hey, I'm still here during this process. So when they do go to sell that new build in 5 years, you're going to get that call.
So this is my softball question for the day, but I really think everybody needs to hear this. When you communicate properly, and you follow up on what you're going to say, your follow up, how would you say that helps with your referrals?
Oh, tremendously. I mean, people are going to refer you out, obviously, because they're like, hey, call Cameron, call Isaac, call Hillary. They were amazing. You know what I mean? It's just the nature of the beast. I mean, it's just common sense. If someone's happy, they're going to refer you. So as long as you leave that client happy, they're going to refer you. But
And yeah, and guys,
basic stuff.
That's it. I mean, I've sold houses to people. I have no idea where they came from, and they can't even remember who told them to call me. But like I said, you do a good job. People are going to come at you and remind you of that one. Is there any other prospecting techniques or anything else that you do to find clients?
Yeah. So the biggest thing, obviously I'm an investor. So I turn the way I approach marketing. So I don't spend any money on necessarily traditional marketing. I don't even have a traditional website. I don't have really like Facebook leads or anything like that. I do all off market leads. So I try to come at people to buy their house first, always. And I read the situation. If the seller, wants retail, I turn them into a client immediately. And that's literally has changed everything for me. It's given me a huge opportunity to get listings. And that's pretty much it. That's my only strategy when it comes to obviously that and referrals, but sending out letters and things like that for trying to purchase the house. Because if you send it out, this is just my opinion. If you send it out as an agent, right? Well, they get a lot of those, and they probably get a lot for sellers too. I mean, people trying to buy their house, but they're probably going to call that investor more than they are that agent, because there's a lot more agents than there are investors. That's just my opinion. I don't know if that's accurate, but if you have a nice letter and maybe you're the first or third that they call, well, then you say, okay, well, I'm not going to even give you, the offer because it doesn't sound like we're going to be too far off. So what I can do, and I do believe that this house is worth this, I immediately turn it over and say, let me put my real estate agent hat on versus my investor hat.
Right.
And so that's the prospecting that I do.
Mainly. It's so funny. Literally yesterday, I put an offer in on a house, and it was a verbal offer. And I flat out told her, I was like, this is where I'm at. I'm pretty sure a lot of other investors are gonna be there. If you really want more, let's list it. You know what I mean? And just one thing, if I can put the trainer hat on, guys, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Okay. So once you go from one to the other, you have to, they have to make up their mind what they want to do at the beginning, and they have to stick with it. So if they say they want to list it, you can't go back and try and buy it from them later. You know too much. You were a fiduciary. Now you have inside information. You buying that house is not going to look good in the eyes of Trek, and vice versa. If you say you're going to buy it, we go through this whole thing and something falls apart, you can't list it anymore. Refer it back out to another white line agent, somebody else, because it's going to get hairy. And that's why a lot of brokerages don't want to have investors, because there is kind of a gray area there. So make sure you're paying attention to what's going on, one hat or the other, guys. And like he said, he figures it out quick. I'm going to put my investor hat on. Here's an IABS. I mean, my realtor hat on. Here's an IABS. Here's an exclusive right to sell. Let's just list this thing. So I think that's a great idea. Why did I write down this note? God, it had been something great.
What's it say?
Oh, the personal. I wrote down that it said personal, and I wrote down that I do a lot of personal marketing too, trying to find investment properties. And one of the things I found really interesting is that I start finding other investors out there, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And so one of the things I've done lately, and I don't know if you do this too, is I kind of do a cursory analysis of the property, and I send it to them. And I'm like, hey, look, I found this property. And what happens is I'm going through the MLS. I go through the MLS. I look at stuff in the MLS all day long, and I try and see if any of it makes sense to me. And if it doesn't, I've got about 15 clients that I send it to, because I've already done my homework on it. Why not just, it's like, I don't like it, maybe you'll like it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And we do it all the time.
Thing, yeah.
How many investor clients do you work with?
That's primarily a ton of my business. Is I was fortunate enough to get I listed 3 duplexes, 2 in New Braunfels and 1 in San Marcos. And I think I had 45 offers. This was in the heat of the market on those, and probably 5-ish to 7. I think 5 to 7 of them were not represented. Some of the offers that came in. So I got to write, multiple contracts for them. And the ones that didn't get it, I've stayed in contact with. They purchased other duplexes with me, other triplexes, and some of them were from California. But I mean, that's literally, I would say 80% of my business is investors.
Yeah, the technical term for this, guys, the technical term in sales speech is reverse prospecting, right? If you get 45 offers on a house that is clearly an investor special, those other 44 people are investors. Pick up the phone, call them.
Yeah.
Hey, can I help you find what you're looking for? If you're in that investor world, like, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure Hillary can attest to this. I don't know how much the rest of the guys that invest with. Hillary, how many emails a day do you get from wholesalers?
Oh, a bunch.
I mean, I probably get 20.
10 to 15.
I mean, I probably get 20 a day.
I got 7
just all over the world. You know what I mean? And they're from wholesalers, and I'm obviously not representing them. But what I will do is push it over to them. And if I know they're a flipper, hey, here's this deal. Let me list it for you when you're done.
Yep, absolutely.
And guess what, guys? When you do that enough on a consistent basis, in about 6 months, you're going to have so much work you can't see straight. And then, so I'm going to get a little bit personal before I get to the Q&A session here. You recently got a hold of an apartment complex, right? Correct. Sold for 1 point something. 4 mil. Okay, so you sold that on the market for $4 million. Where did you get that?
So this goes back probably about 2 years ago. Whenever I was trying to wholesale, I let my license lapse. So here's a little story. I let my license lapse for, I would say 8 months or so. This was before Whiteline. I got my license back and then I joined Whiteline immediately. So it's probably 2-ish years ago.
Education. Educated people choose Whiteline. Sorry, go ahead.
So this apartment complex I went to high school with this girl, and her dad owns several investment properties in San Marcos. And so I was trying to create this wholesaling company because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make fat checks and do wholesaling. And so I contracted this apartment complex for, I think, like 1.2 or something like that. Yeah, I think it was, he kept moving the goalposts. He wanted $1 million. Then the next conversation was 1.2. Anyways, I just locked it up. What's up?
Sorry, we're getting interrupted.
We got a special guest.
By a very rude
Look
guest.
at this beard. My COVID beard.
Gross, dude.
Oh my God.
Shave that.
That's how you got COVID, I'm sure. All those gray hairs.
What's up, man? How are you?
Good.
I'm going to see you.
To Watson. Look.
Okay, let me know. All right. Thanks, man. Yeah, we're a little close here.
Hey, by the way, your sink's a little dirty. Your floor sink's a little dirty. I had to take a shower in there. So, sorry for the distraction. I got stuck in the mud coming out here, and I had mud literally from the knees down everywhere. So I took it in his utility sink. So
I contracted this property for 1.2, and I tried to wholesale it for higher than that. And at the time, the market was, I didn't know what I was doing, but I just ran across this, and I explained the whole wholesaling process to him. I was like, look, there's no agent commission. He's like, I was like, anything I get over this, I get to keep. And he's like, oh yeah, that sounds like a great deal. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. So no luck. No one wanted it. It really was a turd. I mean, this thing's terrible. And it just kept getting worse and kept getting worse. No one wanted it. Everyone wanted to be $1 million, and I had locked it up at 1.2. So I go back to him. I said, hey, look, there's nothing I could, and I told him, I said, we're going to try. I never said, I'm going to close on this thing. I told him the whole strategy. I said, I have a lot of investors. I said, we're going to try and get this deal done. And he says, no worries if not. I used to go hunt deer on his property, and they're in San Marcos and stuff like that. And so 2 years later, I'm like, hey, I pick up the phone. And I'd stayed in contact. I've sold a couple other properties, single family houses around the area for him. And I'm like, hey, when the market got crazy, right? When COVID was just out there, not that it's not out there, but the market, you know what I mean? And so I pick up the phone. I was like, hey, I think we can sell that property. Well, anyways, he moves the goalpost for me again. And he's like, okay, I want 1.5. And I was like, he's like, it's been a year. And I'm like, yeah, let's try it. So we try it anyways, ended up getting it. But the moral of the story is I just stayed in contact with the guy, and it was a 2-year lead. I'd known him for a long time, but I'd been thinking about it. Right now would be the time to list it. So I listed it for him.
Yeah. And I think so you listed it. You put it straight up listed it.
Straight up listed it.
And you got it 1.5?
Yeah. That's what I got 1.4. So he wanted 1.5, and I was like, well,
so close.
I don't know. I rather just list it. Let me just list it. So I listed it for 1.5. And then within I think it was 3 months, I think I had an offer. It fell through. The guy found another property he liked more. He was a 1031 buyer. And then this guy out of Seattle came in with an agent and put an offer in on it.
Yeah. And
it
guys,
was a 9 month.
For those of y'all not quick at good head math, what's it, $42,000 in commission?
Mm-hmm.
$42,000 in commission.
Something like that.
You're allowed to take the weekend off when you close a $42,000 commission deal, but back to work on Monday, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So just staying with it, guys. So again, I'd like to reemphasize, just having that some sort of CRM. I don't care if it's a piece of paper, sticky notes, use time, whatever it is that you use, but to have somebody that you constantly are following back up with, and then also keeping the line of communication open.
Yeah, especially when you have a whale. If you think about that person that has, this was 16 units. Don't ever let that guy go, ever, because eventually he's going to need to sell it. And especially if they're getting older, and you call them and just, hey, how's the apartment complex? Well, it's been a pain in my ass lately. Okay, well, maybe now's the time to sell. Let's go. Market's great. I think I can get the deal done. Let's list it. So that's pretty much how it worked.
Unbelievable. And guys, and just keeping your head wrapped around it, I think, is kind of the thing. All right, he started off trying to wholesale it, didn't work. Never mind. Let's go ahead and just list this thing. Right, a couple years later. But I do the same thing. Like, I talked to a lady. She called me out of the blue and said, "Hey, I have this house. I've rented it for years. I'm flipping it. I'm getting out of it. Will you list it for me?" I'm like, "Absolutely." Right. And so that went without a hitch. And then, of course, right at the end of it, I asked the question. I said, "Hey, do you have any other properties?" She goes, "I sure do." I was like, perfect. Right. So I'm going to be picking up another couple of those properties as well. So kind of keep your head on a swivel, keep thinking about those things as we go forward, as you keep thinking about it. So now that we kind of know how you got started, how you got your, where you do your prospecting, what are you looking at going forward with Whiteline?
Just trying to do as many deals as possible, obviously, but really focusing on investor clients, because I think that they're a lot easier to deal with than first-time home buyers and your traditional buyers. And I'm not really too interested in traditional buyers in general. I have enough kind of investors that I can serve, and always be looking for property for them, whether it be on or off market. It's pretty much it. Just pedal to the metal.
Right. I'm surprised Hillary hasn't asked for whoever bought that.
Yeah, I was going to after. They want a 30 unit.
Yeah. I thought that was funny. And also, guys, I just thought of another quick story that I handled with is I had somebody, it was a hedge fund, JV1 Ventures, something or other, put an offer on a house that I was working on, and they wanted to buy it, but they weren't top out of it. And now I'm selling them all kinds of stuff on the side. I mean, it's a great way to get that ball moving, guys. So post, get some stuff out there, and then, like I said, find your niche and run.
Yeah, I remember that hedge fund you referred me, mobile homes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think I did like 12 of North Texas, and they were like, "Hey, we're a hedge fund. Like, we need an MLS for North Texas." Okay, I buy the MLS, and I think we ended up closing like maybe 10, 15 deals up there.
We talked about that referral fee program.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Guys, these big investors, man, they run like crazy. So kind of get in on that. And now we've talked about 30 minutes. I've got a few more questions I want to ask, but I want to ask y'all if y'all have any questions for Mr. Whitehead here.
Is that Marco?
That was Marco.
That was Marco. He's looking like a little
He
bit.
looks like Jesus walking in with the light behind.
And the hair.
In the hair, yeah. No questions. Cool.
No questions.
See you guys later.
Yeah. That's it. Nothing like that. There's a lot of people on here today, so I want to make sure everybody's got.
I'll ask you a question, Cam. I don't want you to go away without any questions. I'm good for that. What would you say your goals are outside of representing people, like as an investor yourself? What are your next steps? I know you just got into that RV facility, and yeah, I'd just like to hear what your plans are outside of agent life and more on your investment side.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm not interested in any single family homes or really anything smaller than, like, I would say 6 units. And what I'm really focusing on right now is storage units in RV parks and mobile home parks, so more the commercial side. Once I realized the power of like cap rates and things like that, and being able to cash out, refinance, like banks like they'll finance something at a 7 or 8 cap. and you're buying it at like a 12 or something like that. You improve it, and then it's a 16, and then you go back to the bank and you pull all your money out plus, you know, a couple $100,000. That's what I'm interested in right now. That's the power of commercial real estate. And Isaac, you're the man to talk to about some of that stuff. But thanks for the question. That's pretty much it. And yeah, commercial real estate.
So what he's saying and kind of reduced down to everybody else is it's basically flipping a business. You go in, it's like buying a house and you force equity by making it prettier. Same thing. But in businesses, it doesn't matter what color it is. It doesn't matter if the window fixtures are perfect. It matters how much money it produces. And that's basically what a cap rate is, right? It's a ratio. So if you can make this investment make more money, then all of a sudden everybody loves it. Banks love it, you love it, and all that good stuff. And the best part is if you refinance it, take $100,000 out, that's tax-free income, ladies and gentlemen, because it's a loan, not income.
Yeah, you have no money in the deal, and you just made money, and you still have the asset.
Are you able to find those right now? I feel like I'm having a hard time finding those right now. No, yeah, I mean, I'm thinking more the larger multifamilies.
Loans?
Well, loans too.
Yeah, I can find loans. I mean, I have a banker that would pretty much do it for me. But
yeah,
as far as the RV parks go, I mean, I see them, you know, like those emails that we get. I see a couple in there, but they're like in, you know, South Texas, and I'm not too really interested in that, but they're out there. I mean, I'm even interested in maybe potentially going out of state too, because there's some crazy mobile home parks out there.
Yeah,
just crazy cap rates.
You get in the Middle East,
yeah, absolutely.
Arkansas and all that stuff. There's a lot of good stuff out there too.
I'm scared, but
and for those of y'all that are just hearing Greek coming out of our mouths right now, study. Start with bigger pockets. You know, go in there, learn how to do all that kind of stuff. If you've got questions, make sure you don't act if you're unsure about what's going on, because you do hold your license, folks. It's a different set of rules for people that hold their license. So you got to be very, very, very careful with that. So my next question is where are you going next? Cabo. Yeah, I'll be in Cabo. Sounds terrible. Are you taking Charlie?
No.
If you have not seen Charlie, she's one of the cutest little things right next to my two little girls, which I have a Charlie too, but spelled a little different. So anyways, guys, if that's it, I mean, it's the same thing we've been preaching for years, and he just does it a lot harder than a lot of people. I know I do. So, I mean, it's inspiring. I want to crank down and double down on it and get my name out there a little bit more, do some bigger properties. So I'm excited about that. So that's all I've got for today, guys. That was quick and easy. So the legendary Cameron, unfortunately, he will not be at the White Line party this October 17th. For those of y'all that are coming, you can bring a change of clothes. That's what I'm planning on doing. I am going to take headshots. I'm probably going to be wearing shorts from the waist down and something professional from up, and then I'm just going to switch out real quick. There are bathrooms. It is going to be at Eric's house. We do have a DJ, free headshots, food, fun, all that stuff. This is our kid-friendly event. If you want to bring your kids, that's great. Basketball court. Might be a little too cold to swim. I'm going to try and talk Eric into doing another. No. But
that's why he couldn't sell his house. He didn't have a damn hot tub.
There is a jacuzzi tub upstairs. It's kind of his, the master bath, but I don't think he'll mind. But try and talk him into maybe another boat ride, something fun like that. So that's October 17th, guys, starting at 3:00. Mark your calendars if you have not already. Make sure you're coming to that. And also, Eric and I were just talking, we will be having another event in February where we'll be passing out our awards this time. We are going to use a true calendar year, so we're going to see whoever's sold the most houses for 2021. Come out here, see the people that are doing that. You got to remember, we've got 50 White Line agents now. There's a lot of people doing a lot of great things. So if nothing else, you need to show up just to do the networking, just to talk to these people. Cameron talks to me all the time. He answers the phone anytime I have a question, want to talk to him, whatever it is. And he's gotten 10 or 15 referrals just off of somebody that I sent to him because it was better suited for his market than it was for mine. So you make some friends, learn something new. So make sure you make these parties, guys. It's not lame, I promise. You'll have a lot of fun at it. So that's all I got for today, unless anybody's got any more questions. All right, wonderful. Nothing but love. Go out there, guys. Go sell something.